Okay, we've got our last story before the interval. And this one you might actually want to prick your ears up for. Which is not to say you shouldn't have paid attention to the other ones, but you might like this one here. Wow, foot and mouth tonight. The story we've got is called HEAVE by Geraldine Mills, and she is a poet and fiction writer with a lot of books to her name. Her most recent collections of poetry include Unearthing Your Own, Toil the Dark Harvest, An Urgency of Stars, and The Other Side of Longing. Her short story collections, Lick of the Lizard and The Weight of Feathers, are taught at the University of Connecticut and at East Connecticut University in the literature program. So pay attention, because you might get some free education out of this. You should also pay attention, because it's going to be a good read. The reader is Silas Hawkins, and we're going to hear a section of HEAVE. It's set during a freezing night in a hen house, as Folan waits to shoot a mink that has been killing his chickens. While waiting and freezing, he reflects and regrets how his wife has left him. This excerpt is from the middle of the story, and the reader is Silas Hawkins.
HEAVE. What a three-quarters idiot he was not to have taken much notice at first of Greta uploading photos onto her Facebook page. When she complained that they never did anything together anymore, he joined up himself, just to show he was not going against her, to prove her wrong. But it bored him. And the more it bored him, the more she was fired up about it. She said she liked to look at other people's lives. Strangers' stories sent a picture to her brain of her own blood pushing its way through veins and arteries into the tiniest of capillaries until she felt there were strings of Christmas lights switching on through the pathways of her body. It made her feel she was still alive. Well, that's what she said to him when he complained about her jumping up and running across to the little table under the window to see if the latest person who had friended her had posted their photos of a trip to Prague or Barcelona. She had never been to either place. Folan was not one for travelling. He loved the land around him, his father's, his grandfather's before that. He believed that if everyone stayed in their own spot, the world would be better off. They argued. "There's a whole world out there to be conquered," she said, crumbs of toast blackening her teeth. She had friended Hull and Lorient and Wellington, old friends that she hadn't heard from since she was a teller in the bank or struggling at Weight Watchers. She posted photos of herself standing with the horses at the horse fair, while all around her men were spitting on their palms as tight rolls of money changed hands. She was pleased with how she looked. The light flattered her. He shivered. Should have read the signs. Should have noticed the way she started learning a new language. Going around practicing like she was in the thick of plans for her first foreign holiday. Cutlery became silverware. She served him ground beef instead of good old reliable mince that she'd been buying for Rooney's Butcher since they were first married. She didn't go to the pictures with Bill Taylor's wife anymore. No, it was the movies now. "You're watching too many of them American programs," Folan told her. "What programs?" she said. He waited it out until she had gone to her step aerobic classes. She was determined to keep trim, not letting midlife flib-flab its way across her middle. A few days before, when he'd brought over a trailer load of manure for her rose beds, Bill Taylor's wife had said something about Greta's privacy settings. Though he was shaken, he didn't let on. The whole world now knew her business. He pulled up her Facebook page. He could see the comments written, the photos on her wall. He saw her status: single. Did she think a shotgun was too intimate? Some Tom was asking her. Something about a black powder rifle, a shallow sharps, though modern made, as near as I can get to the real thing. This guy was going on and on about the excitement of getting as close to his game as possible, knowing that there was only one shot to get you killed. One shot, that's all. Oh, but Tom would teach her. He would make sure she learned that. Was he fucking serious? She couldn't handle a wooden spoon without dropping it. A whole list of replies. Way to go, Greta. Mighty stuff. Wish it was me, Greta. He'd been out treating some of his sheep who were infected with orth. When he got back, she was sitting at the table, a glass empty but for ice melting over a slice of lemon beside her. She was studying the ingredients from the gin bottle. He slipped off his Wellingtons in the scullery and reached for his boots. There was a pot of potatoes for the hens bubbling on the range. She started to read out the list of herbs that were etched into the glass on each side of the gin bottle. Juniper berries and orris root, grains of paradise. Why? He asked her. To be thinking of going when things are not that bad, but when things are not bad enough to go. Not bad enough is no longer good enough. We might as well have a red triangle at the end of our bed, like a broken car pulled in on the hard shoulder to warn anything coming behind us that we have broken down. She laughed at that. She couldn't even be serious about the things that were serious. Some little seed of fun, of paradise. She looked up at him. That's all. I don't want to wake up some wet morning to discover there's nothing but a long string of misery to pull us through the next part of our life. And this, certainly not this, she said, waving her hand over the kitchen with steam rising up and condensing on the one window that let in a bit of light. Do you have to? Look, she said, pointing to where his chair was beside the fire. The lino tiles were worn into the ground where he placed his feet every evening. You'll bore yourself into the middle of the earth from staying in one spot for too long. And that's not going to be me. I'm dying here.